friends, Lauren Kromzak here, and this is the Disney Slowdown, where we are going to help you plan your magical vacation with your special needs children. Slow down, savor the moments, avoid meltdowns if at all possible, and have a great time. That is always our goal, because we know that we can't push our kids and do all the things, because, you know, rope drop to fireworks and everything in between for our children is not going to end well for us. So we're taking a little different approach to Walt Disney World to help your family have an absolute magical time and stay within budget. I forgot about that. I promised you that we would tour each of the parks and I would point out the good water and some fun activities for your children, things that are enjoyable, hidey holes, places to kind of get away from all the nonsense, and just an overall view of the park. Today, we are covering my favorite park, EPCOT. EPCOT is my favorite park. EPCOT is my favorite park. I love it so much. And there are so many layers to EPCOT. I'm not even going to touch on or even try to explain all of the festivals. I've decided that needs a whole video unto itself. But just know this, that 4 times a year, so the majority of the year, with the exception of a week or two transition in between, EPCOT is full of festivals. So the first one is called the Festival of the Arts. The second one is Flower and Garden. The third one is Food and Wine, and that is the longest one, and it's so good. And then the fourth one is the Festival of the Holidays, which is a holdover from Food and Wine, but it's got some holiday theming, and there are some other holiday activities involved. So more than likely, when you are visiting Walt Disney World, if you have an EPCOT day, you're going to hit one of those festivals. And so there's going to be a whole nother video all about the EPCOT festivals, because there are definitely tips and tricks just for the festivals. But right now, we're just going to look at EPCOT as a whole, the layout, and I'm going to point out those things that I promised to you. And the best way to do that is to travel by map. No, there are also no Muppets in this park, but you know, there really should be. There should be.
Let's pull up our map and select EPCOT, unselect Disney Animal Kingdom, hit apply, and we're going to hop, skip, and jump right over to EPCOT. And I'm not sure why this park faces us from the back of the park at World Showcase instead of the front of the park. It always gets me turned around, but here we are. So let's zoom in a little bit and head over to Frozen. I just want to show you where it is really quick. It's right there in the Norway Pavilion. We just saw Remy's Ratatouille, which is over in France. Those two are going to consistently be the most popular attractions in all of EPCOT. But let's start at the front gate, where most people are going to enter this park. And you can see if you go to the right, which is going to be backwards on this map, this is why it always confuses me, you're going to have the Land and the Sea Pavilion. But before you worry about where you're going to go, let's go ahead and grab one of those festival books that you will see right there at my purple X. My next video will be all about all 4 of the EPCOT festivals, so don't worry about that now, but definitely grab that book. That funky triangular shaped building, that's where Guardians of the Galaxy is. Now currently, you have to get into the virtual queue at 7 a.m. or 1 p.m. in order to ride that ride, unless you want to pay for it separately. So I have a short, I'm going to link that right here. Go ahead and grab that and watch that next, so you know how to get into the virtual queue for free. Our newest attraction to EPCOT is Moana's Journey Through Water. You're going to find that right outside of the Sea Pavilion, where you're also going to see Nemo and Friends and Turtle Talk with Crush. That is such a fun, interactive little show. The kids always enjoy talking with Crush, and there is a huge aquarium inside the Sea Pavilion. It's a great place for you to go and hang out and let them blow off some steam, get out of the heat. Next door at the Land Pavilion, you're going to find Soarin'. Right now, it's Soarin' over California. I'm not sure if they're going to bring back the other one, Soarin' Around the World. I think I prefer that one. But inside the Land Pavilion is where you're going to find Good Water. At Sunshine Season, they do have a self-serve soda fountain, so you can go in there with your water bottles and fill up the water. And of course, here's Figment, Journey to the Imagination with Figment in those double pyramid buildings. Just a fun little show, and Figment's kind of the mascot of Epcot, so you will see he and his purple self all over the place. Take a look at how far the monorail goes inside Epcot. It's a great way to get a bird's eye view and a fun place to just kind of sit and relax. You can take the monorail all the way over to the Ticket and Transportation Center, and from there you can either just come back to Epcot or you can go on to Magic Kingdom. There are also several resorts on the monorail. You just have to change monorails. It also goes right over Journey with Water, so it's kind of fun to look down on top of it and see all the lights and what's happening. This center section was recently opened. You're going to find the statue of Walt Disney where you can take a picture next to Walt. It's also a great place for your family to get a picture in front of the big golf ball, also known as Spaceship Earth. They've added a bunch of seating. There's actually tables, there's shade, and there are places for you to plug in your electronics. Let's hop down and check out all of the characters you're going to see in this park. You're going to have characters in the front part of the park, World Celebration, and then you're also going to see a lot of different princesses all over World Showcase. This is a great place to check out all of your princesses, and you're going to be walking through the countries. It's just a fabulous way to meet several of them, and you're going to see them in their street clothes. So Belle is going to be in her blue jumper, and we've got pictures with the Beast there as well. And while all these characters have a specific place where you're going to find them, or a general area where you're going to find them, none of these are going to be dassable, so you will just have to stand in line. Epcot is a great place to divide and conquer if you have littles who just want to meet a bunch of characters, and then you have bigs who might want to ride Test Track or even the Mission to Mars. There are also various scavenger hunts in Epcot. First of all, pin trading. I have an entire video just about pin trading, so I'm going to link that here. Go watch it after you watch about the virtual queue. And then there's KidCot, which is absolutely free. You can collect a postcard from each country. You have a place where you can sit down, you can color them, you get a sticker. There's also a completer postcard that you get. Go ahead and grab that at your first station just in case you don't make it all the way around. And then each festival is going to have a scavenger hunt where you can pick up the scavenger hunt map at the Creation store for $10. It comes with a prize. Go ahead and pick up that prize when you purchase the scavenger hunt map, and then you can walk around and your kids can look for fun things while you take a gander at the food booths or the festival booths, depending on when you're there. And while we are still strolling around looking at all the different characters you can find at Epcot, if you find this video helpful, would you please like this video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you know when I release a new video. Also, mamas, if you know somebody who needs this information, would you please share my channel? I would really appreciate it. We need our village. Speaking of which, I created a Patreon. So after you have binge watched all of my videos, go ahead and click in the description box, hop on over to Patreon, and say hi. Oh, let's take a look at the Skyliner for a moment. You see that right next to France? That is where you can hop on, slow down, have some snacks and some drinks. You can go off to other resorts and check them out, or you can take it all the way to Hollywood Studios. It's free to ride, and honestly, it's my kid's favorite ride next to Guardians. You get there by walking through Canada, UK, and right past the bridge that'll take you to France. That's called the International Gateway, also known as the back entrance of Epcot. Now, there's resorts back there, and if you're staying at one of those resorts, then you can enter right there at France, and those people are going to be the first ones onto Remy's. You don't have to worry about that because you do have the DAS. But I tell you what, my goal is to organize a mom's trip to Disney. I am not even kidding you. You will learn all about that over on my Patreon. I can't wait to see you. We're just going to follow along the Skyliner, and I tell you what, I've got a fabulous short of the Riviera. There's a mosaic wall there. There's actually two of them. One is going from London to Neverland with Peter Pan, and the other one is the floating lanterns. It's so beautiful. The Riviera is a nice resort where you can just go and kind of hang out. You can walk around these resorts absolutely free. You just can't drive to them. They won't allow you to park unless you have a reservation at a restaurant at one of the resorts. So, but you can take the free transportation. So if you want to check out resorts, you can do that. Take the Skyliner, take the monorail, get off, walk around. I know it's not the parks, but if you need a place to just get away from it all, sometimes the Skyliner is really our favorite. Now, you cannot go pool hopping. You can't go and swim at a resort's pool, but you can go look at the theming and just have a good time. And maybe this is something that you do when you don't have a park ticket for the day. You can go to Disney Springs if you're driving. You can take boats around. You can take buses. The buses to Disney Springs are only going to be to resorts. They do not take buses from Disney Springs to the parks because they don't want people parking for free at Disney Springs and then not paying for parking over at the parks. But you can do that and hop around, especially if you don't have entrance to a park that day. It's a great way to spend some time. Jumping back to right behind EPCOT, you're going to find the boardwalk area. That's going to be the first resort that you're going to come to. If you walk out of International Gateway and across the bridge, there is an ice cream parlor there. That's where the new corn dog stand is going to be. I've seen streetmosphere there, like jugglers and acrobatics and comedians. It's just a family-friendly place to hang out. Lots of green space, a great way to just kind of get away from it all. Because World Showcase will get more congested the later in the day that it goes. So if you need to get away, you can hop on behind and go to the boardwalk, even the Yacht and Beach Club. But I think the boardwalk is more fun, and it's right there on the pathway. You don't have to kind of search through the resort to look for fun things to do.
Let's flip back to attractions just really quick. Now, in EPCOT, when you walk in the park, I think your primary DAS is going to be, again, the ride that is right in front of you. And that is either going to be Soarin' or it's going to be Test Track. Test Track goes down a lot. So if that is on your kids' to-do list, I highly recommend going ahead and getting it out of the way in case it goes down, and then you have more time to come back and get it again when it comes back up. Most of the other rides at the front of the park are going to have low wait time, so if for some reason you find one that they really want to check out and it's a higher wait time, you can DAS it, or you could just come back and hit it later when it's less of a wait time. There are actually two rides in Mission Space. One is more calm than the other. The Mission to Mars is actually pretty intense. The Mission to the Moon is fun, but you do get some G-forces. Soarin' is pretty much on an IMAX screen, and you're sitting in a chair that looks like you're in a hang glider, and you're going either over California or around the world, and it's full of fun imagery and smells and movement. Just really neat scenery.
There's only one other ride in World Showcase besides Frozen Ever After in Norway and Remy's Ratatouille over in France, and that is right next to Norway, and it's in the Mexico Pavilion. I guess it's a pyramid, and it's called Grand Fiesta Tours with the Three Caballeros, where you get to ride in a boat and watch them chase Donald all over Mexico. It's really cute. There's hardly ever a wait for it. If you're there during a busy day, maybe it's the first day of the festival, then you might have to go ahead and DAS that, but the Mexico Pavilion is a great place to get away from the crowds, although it is more busy than any other country. And it's cool. The KidCot's in there, the Pin Trader's in there. There's really neat shops and just different unique items to grab. So definitely go to Mexico.
I want to point out really quickly one place that we always stop. It's actually always our first stop, and that is called Club Cool. Now, it's a shop, it's a Coca-Cola shop, but it's also where you're going to find the Coca-Cola fountain that has several different flavors from different countries. It's always a great time. Make sure you try them left to right. They are free. It's free sampling there. But if you walk in the back of that shop, you're going to be able to go back to the counter where they have drinks and slushies and some ice cream. But go ahead and ask them for a courtesy water. It's always cold. It's always filtered. There's ice. It's nice in there. It's a great place to stop. And then you can just head over to Test Track or Guardians, whichever ride you're doing first. The dining in Epcot is going to be different, frankly, all the time because of the food festivals. There are so many food booths all around, not only in World Celebration, but all over World Showcase. So you're going to have your staple restaurants. You have Connections Eatery and Cafe right there. And you also, on the other side, you'll have Sunshine Seasons, which we've talked about. Each country is going to have their own quick service or booth plus a table service restaurant. You've got a couple of big table service restaurants up here in World Celebration as well. But the booths are what we always go for. And I will definitely talk more about the booths in my Epcot Festivals video. Let's take a look at the entertainment around Epcot. There are so many performers, like Streetmosphere, really all around World Showcase. Each country is going to have some kind of entertainment. It may not be Broadway musical style, but you are definitely not going to get bored walking around the World Showcase. There are bandstands in several countries. There's one over in England, in the UK. There's one, I think, over by Canada. There's the amphitheater in the US. So if you're walking by, you might hear a band or see some kind of a performance. It also is going to probably coordinate with the festival. And if you want to linger a little longer at some of the entertainment and the kids seem to be bored out of their mind, you can always pull up the Play Disney Parks and do the DuckTales interactive game. It's kind of like a mystery, but you have clues and treasures that you need to find in each of the countries. So if you want to linger a little bit longer, or maybe you're waiting in line to get a food item from a food booth, your kids can completely be entertained on the Play Disney Park app if they're not already enthralled with finding all the KidCots or pin trading. This is something they can stand in line with you and work on. And again, if you are finding this video helpful, would you please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell? And by all means, share this video and my channel with a friend. Epcot is definitely the park where you're going to also find the most unique gifts and shops, because you're going to have items that are representative and from each country in World Showcase. My kids love going into the shops. You're going to have some cultural aspects to each of the country, whether it's some kind of a museum or maybe a short film all about the country. They really do enjoy showcasing these countries in World Showcase, and it's a great way to slow down and cool down because a lot of these are inside. Now, one thing I want to do show you, let's go ahead and jump to the other side of the park. We're going to start over in Canada, and I'm going to show you some really great hideaways, besides the Skyliner, of course. Let's jump over to Canada. We're going to go and collect our KidCot. It's outdoors, but it's kind of in a cave, so it's shaded. There's restrooms there. There's place to sit down. You can sit. You can color your KidCot before moving on. It's a great place to take a little break. And if you walk through the countries, the UK is going to be a little busy. You've got more shops there in the UK. But if you go back to the KidCot, you can see that's the bandstand. There might be a band going on there, or it's going to be a nice place to just kind of sit and relax. You're not going to have a lot of shade there though, so if it's during the heat of the day, you might want to skip it. France is always going to be busy.
I would recommend hitting France probably earlier in the day rather than later. Les Halles is the pastry. You've got La Glace, which is the ice cream shop. You've got a creperie. Of course, you've got Beauty and the Beast sing-along, as well as Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. So there's always going to be a ton of people in France. If you're trying to avoid the crowds, you're going to want to move next door and head over to Morocco because that is where you're going to find quiet. Unfortunately, they got rid of one of the restaurants there, so it feels a little desolate, but it's a great place. If you go back to the middle of that building, the EPCOT's tucked away, it's inside, it's cool, it's quiet, very serene. It's a great place to sit down and relax. And right across the way at Spice Road Table, you're going to find a cooler of water. It's just sitting out on the table. They refresh it. It's ice water. It's cold. I've always gotten it filtered there, so it's a great place to take your water bottles and get them filled. Besides all the fun and popular merchandise in Japan, you're going to find some really interesting and calming gardens in Japan, so I recommend walking around those. Walking into the US back by the EPCOT, you're going to have some really good restrooms. And if you go to the other side of the building in the Regal Eagle Smokehouse, they also have a self-service soda fountain, so you can get cold ice water there as well. And this is the amphitheater that I was telling you about earlier. There'll be concerts or speakers or some kind of band entertainment, just depending on what festival you have. Italy is pretty open on the inside, but there's not a lot of shade, so it's a great place to kind of hang out as long as it's not super sunny. If you're trying to get away from the sun, you might want to keep on walking. Germany has a miniature village with a train that goes around right there on the corner. It's really cool to see what little Easter eggs you can find in there. And if you want a really good pretzel, not that stupid Mickey pretzel, or a brat, you want to go check out Germany because that's where you're going to find it. Moseying on down to China now. Right out front, there are also some really interesting gardens, although this map doesn't really show them well, but trust me, they are there. Right in front of the Reflections of China building. Look at you, we've made it almost all the way around World Showcase. Are your legs tired yet? You've made it in record time. Let's go to Norway. This is going to be a popular area. You're going to find a lot of people here. You have character dining at Oscarhus. You have Frozen Ever After. So it's probably going to be more congested, but you will see a few little nooks and crannies where you can kind of hide out. Making your way down toward Mexico, again, this little restaurant, La Cantina de San Angel, is a great place to get nachos. There's a margarita stand right across the way, and we're back at the pyramid.